Today, there are many different kinds of technologies that we use in society. These technologies have served our civilizations for ages. Without them, we wouldn't be able to support so much life that we currently have. However, where did these different technologies originate from? What was their specific impact on how we live today, and how did they evolve along with us? One of the pieces of technology that we've used is the plow. It was created primarily for the sake of improving agriculture, and has served as a key piece of technology that has made our modern economy possible. The creation of the plow has acted as a step towards things like plentiful food, clean water, and even technologies like video games and web searches. Within the usage of the original plow, the need for there to be so many hunters and gatherers had decreased. Populations were able to support themselves with only a small part of the community, and this allowed for the rest of the community to focus on different occupations and specializations, such as developing new technologies. With people being able to specialize in different fields without worrying about starving or what food they're going to eat, villages could advance their technologies at a faster rate. I personally find it really fascinating how it seems that the plow was designed as a solution to the problem that came with hunting and gathering. Your environment played an even greater role in how much food you would be able to acquire. When seasons changed or when animals left, so too did the people. This could lead to creating a society that never stays in one place at a time. With the introduction of the plow, however, people could stop and build up societies in a single place. To think such a shift in how civilization settled would come from such a small device. Another important piece of technology that was created was the cuneiform. The cuneiform is one of the earliest forms of written communication that we've discovered, with it being in early Mesopotamia, and I believe also originating as well, or also being discovered in ancient China as well. It dates back to one of the first true cities, Uruk. The cuneiform was the cuneiform was used to help out with accounting, so people would write down what items were being traded and how much of it was being traded, for instance on tablets. One of the things that they used to assist with this management and accounting was a device called the bulla. This was pretty much used to create contracts between parties. So how it worked is that the contract details are written outside of this pot's exterior, and while the actual contents inside the bulla would contain tokens representing the deal itself. This helped with verification of what was in the contract. I think it's a rather fascinating piece of technology and made for a solid foundation for how we would evolve the ways that we keep track of items and accounting. It's interesting to think of how people in the past came up with unique ways to keep track of their stuff. Now, we've covered devices that have changed the way we grow our food and how we keep track of what we've grown and what we've created. But what about transportation? As societies emerged and grew, the idea of trade would also have to evolve. We would eventually go from simply trading with our neighbors to trading with people from different regions. This technology was called containerization, and it helped with this process of globalization. So, containerization, it came from the mind of a trucking company businessman named Malcolm McLean. And the idea was to transport items through a single system that would be able to carry these items across rails, roads, and sea, rather than a constant unloading and reloading of items to reach a destination. So sort of I think it's called intermodalism type of effect. This system is called intermodalism, but the reason it was created was due to his knowledge of just how difficult it was to transport items along congested roads, and also him being under the pressure of having to find a more efficient way to move his long haul freight. The result of this technology was the creation of what's called containerization. Containerization was a system of freight transportation that used giant reusable containers in order to load and transport goods efficiently. The invention of containerization has greatly impacted how we transport goods today. The old break and bulk cargo systems that we used to do have been rendered obsolete in favor of containerization now. Instead of having to transport and unload items from one checkpoint to the next. Instead, we have giant container ports, which carry and load enormous containers with efficiency and through the usage of heavy machinery. The creation of this technology has had a much greater impact than forethought. With the ability to transport goods across different modes of travel, it launched a global revolution. With it, items created in one part of the world would be transported and sold to another. People could interact with and experience new forms of culture that they never would have heard of before, thanks to containerization. It even had an effect on other businesses like Walmart or Home Depot, and functioned by it changed how they functioned by providing new ways to make profit and new access to different kinds of materials and resources from far off. Containerization serves as a global backbone for the production and marketing of manufactured goods, and without it, many companies and businesses wouldn't be able to function, and the world would certainly be thrown into a period of chaos. Something that I personally find quite fascinating is that all of these inventions were made out of necessity. As I said before, the plow was created for the production of food without fear of the environment changing or adapting. With it came the slow removal of hunter-gatherer society and came in settlements and cities. However, as these cities grew and got larger, we needed ways of keeping track of the materials of the resources that were being created and used and traded amongst civilians. This is where the uses of cuneiform, and specifically the bulla, came into play, which were made for the sake of being able to keep track of these items that were produced and traded within the city. This early form of contracts allowed for people to make contracts and trades with each other while keeping track of what was owed or produced. And finally, as societies grew even larger and formed connections with other societies, they wanted to trade between themselves. However, with long distances and how long it took to trade items with one another, the creation of intermodalism and containerization was born. Each one of these inventions was created for the sake of supporting an ever-increasing population of human beings. With the world becoming a sort of global village where everyone and everything seems to be within reach, it makes you wonder what kinds of new technologies will be made in the future to further support humanity.